Hey everyone. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, my thoughts on this chapter are a little all over the place, because to start off, the whole thing with Killer wanting the Eden Zero to be shut down, only to wanting to like ram the Eden's One into it, it kind of has the vibe of, but you see, this was my plan all along. It's that kind of thing, and and that and it's like, no, dude. Okay, I can only take so much before I think that you're bullshitting me. And the thing is, and what especially gives it that vibe to me is how we've basically spent huge chunks of chapters building up to the bomb threat, only for this his real plan was to basically pull a Leroy Jenkins maneuver. Like, yeah, not a fan. Now, with that said, I do for the most part like how the fight with Killer played out and how Killer was defeated, because on one hand, while it does have a little of that vibe of current threats maybe being dusted a little too quickly, I do think this one does work a little more, because with Killer it is always much more a battle of the mind, and the fact that we did get to see the series power couple and Hermit and Weisz actually combine their power to defeat him inside digital space actually does work a lot more compared to how most of these fights have played out, in my opinion. The only part of it that does feel a little bit convenient is maybe Weisz having his own personal pod, but it's not a big problem for me, as honestly it's just so cathartic seeing Weisz get a bit of payback, as he calls it, that I can kind of overlook a couple of these smaller like contrivances or conveniences for me. Now, with that said, there's two bigger, very weird issues I have with this fight, which is this. As I was reading this chapter, this honestly felt like a fight that didn't even need to take up the entire chapter, because at this point it feels like Mashima is artificially extending the length of events within the chapters for reasons I don't understand. And then there's B, which is, I guess Laguna has become the fixer of the crew, so to speak, because every time he makes an appearance now, his sole purpose is to, I guess, do the things the others are unwilling to do. Like, it's one of those things where, in broad strokes, I don't have a problem with what Laguna's doing, but at the same time, every time he does make an appearance, I'm always thinking, is this going anywhere narratively? Because Laguna's whole thing right now is he's so much in the background and he's just doing whatever the fuck he pleases, I guess, that it's like, where are you going with this Mashima? Like, the only thing that makes sense for me right now is that because Laguna is pulling these sort of covert killing ops, it'll eventually come back to bite him in the ass when the others find out, assuming Shiki isn't already aware and just, like, holds his tongue about the whole thing. But it's like, that's the only thing that makes sense as to what Mashima's trying to do with this, is that sort of thing where Laguna is intentionally pulling all this bullshit behind the scenes without letting anyone know what he's doing, because he knows that the others would just kind of like disagree with him on principle, and Laguna himself is much more willing to be the bad guy in that sense of like he's willing to do the things that the others aren't willing to do. That's kind of how I'm viewing it right now, but it's like, yeah, it's like, even just knowing that though, it's still a question of like, okay, where are you taking this from a narrative perspective, Mashima? Like, what exactly is the end game purpose of everything? Is going to be the end game purpose of everything that Laguna is doing right now? Like, where exactly are you taking this? Like, even beyond beyond Shiki and the others finding out, like, is there more of a purpose to it, or like, where are you taking this? That's just kind of my big deal. Is like, I want to know where he's taking this. I just don't know to what extent he's taking this, I guess. With that said, though, let's talk about expectations for what I'm hoping happens next, because with the current threats out of the picture now, I'm really hoping that Mashima just goes full throttle in introducing Kira and Frey in the mix now, because now would be a great time to do that with basically all the current all the former like threats out of the way, but also, and I'm assuming Mashima already knows this, but don't pull the same kind of thing you did here with with both Cure and Freya, especially Freya. Like, show us how powerful they are. Show us that Cure and Freya are threats that we should fear. That they are the kind of threats who can not only put our heroes through the ringer, but also really just kind of show that, yeah, that there's a reason we should fear them almost at every turn. That there's a reason that our heroes could actually put in real danger with them around. But again, I think Majima does understand this because the more I'm looking back on a lot of the chapters we've gotten with like whether it's the Dark Stars or even just the fight with Aknoella, I think as much as it hurt to see so many powerful enemies defeated so easily, I think the only reason Majima had brought those characters back, the more I'm thinking about it, and the reason he also he defeated them so easily, is because he couldn't come up with any further avenues to explore with them power-wise, other than to use them as a sort of measuring stick to show the growth of the main cast. I'm pretty sure that's what he was doing. But now that we are in the territory of the more newer villains, anything's on the table, and I have confidence that Freya especially, Cure and Freya, but Freya especially, will be a serious enough threat where I fully expect either Homer or Valkyrie to die. Now, Cure, I guess, is more of the wild card in the bunch, I suppose, because even though he is a returning villain, he is a villain who, honestly, let's be honest, kind of got a little misused by Majima. Like, when he was first revealed to be like the true villain behind Dead End Crow, like, if you remember my review of that chapter where the big reveal of Cure being Dead End Crow's true identity, at the time I mentioned how I saw what Majima was trying to do with Cure, but I don't think it paid off as much as they think he wanted it to, and as much as I hate to use this term, I am hoping Majima does kind of use Cure's return to do a little bit of a course correcting, in a sense of just giving us more pathos to that guy, give us more of a reason to care about why he's a villain, because I cared about, it's kind of a weird dichotomy where I cared about Dead End Crow as a villain. Like, the guy was a fucking monster. But Cure just kind of came the fuck out of nowhere, so give us more to care about with that guy, is where I'm coming from. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Analyst Crunchyroll, be sure to notification bell, hit the subscribe button, and just share the video around, guys. Dark Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, everyone.